Alright, so welcome to this guide or tutorial. We're looking at a few things about HTML and CSS. So we want to replicate a particular design that is actually a style guide from a Figma design. So we want to replicate something like that, but in order to do that, we need to understand some basics of HTML and CSS. It will help us to move faster, to help us to understand things better. So the first thing we're going to look at is the code editor. Code editor, that is what you are using to edit your code, to write your code. So I believe what we have here is I have VS Code installed. I believe you also have VS Code installed on your system too. So VS Code is what we'll be using as our code editor. If you don't have VS Code, every other code editor should work. Whether VS Code, Atom, Brackets, they should work just the same. But for this tutorial, we'll be using VS Code. Alright, then we'll talk about a few things that are very paramount in a code editor and why a code editor is better than just a plain editor. So the features we have: color coding, syntax highlighting, or code auto completion, formatting, and a whole lot of things that a code editor can help you achieve. Alright, so after that, we're going to look at browser tools. We're going to look at especially the inspector in the browser, how to use it to test your code, how to use it to practice one or two things before you can come back to your code and implement what you have tested in the browser. So it helps your work to be faster. If you go to the browser, test out some styles or move some HTML around and then check how it reflects in the browser window there. If you are satisfied with the result, then you can come back to your code and modify it. Okay. With that said, we'll have to go to basics of HTML, then talk about basics of CSS. So in this first video, we'll just jump right into code editor. The features of a code editor. Now, a code editor is a software that is specifically designed for writing code. It could be specialized for one language, it could be for multiple languages, right? So VS Code is a code editor that is for multiple languages. So if you come to the status bar, this blue line down here is called status bar. Now if you see this place they wrote, if you hover your mouse over the plain text, you should select language mode. If you click on the plain text, you see all the languages that you can use VS Code to write. We have YAML, XSL, XML, Vue, Sugar, many of them, text, OML, Swift, Svelte, SQL. You can name them, they are numerous. And if you can also install some extensions that will add more languages. So if there is any language that is not listed here, if you install the extension for that language, it automatically add the language to the list here. We have Go, just ignore, a whole lot of things. So there are a lot of files you can handle with this editor. The same thing with Atom, the same thing with Brackets. They have a wide range of languages. The same thing with Notepad++. You can use them to edit. Alright, so a code editor is just an advanced text editor. A text editor is something like, okay, I'm using Ubuntu, so a text editor here now is an example is gedit. So gedit is just like Notepad on Windows. So what it gives you is just plain text, no color coding, nothing. It's just dumb text you are typing. It doesn't know whether you're writing a language or not. However, this text editor in Ubuntu also has the feature for you to select the language you want to write in. Right, so that's why this one also is actually advanced a little bit, but it doesn't give you full features of a code editor. It just gives you maybe highest color coding, right? But if you want the one that will give you syntax highlighting, color coding, autocomplete, formatting, all that, then VS Code, Bracket, Atom are good examples of code editors that will give you that. So with that said, I have to clear this and go back to VS Code. Let me close this, don't save. Alright, so yeah, so code editors have this feature of color coding. What is color coding? Color coding is the feature of a code editor that helps you to paint colors on your code. Now, code, when you write code in plain text and it's just white or black, everything looks the same. You don't know the difference between this and whether it is you don't know a reserved keyword, you don't know a system key, a system keyword, all those stuff. So color coding puts color to different text in the editor, on the editor, in your code. So for instance, if it is a HTML code, it will give it color depending on what you have. Okay, so let me check if I have something for an example. All right, let me go to this. Okay, what do we have here? All right, so let me just open this post CSS. I think it should have a typical example of what we're looking for. Let's see. All right, so this post css.config.js file, the .js means that it is a JavaScript file. Now, if you look down here, you discover that the language has been automatically detected to be JavaScript. So code editors have the feature of automatically detecting the language of a particular file you open. As you can see now, we have green here. Module.export is green. Then we have these brackets being yellow, then white, then blue, and all that. Now, for you to have these extra colors in different brackets have different colors, you have to install a plugin. If you are using VS Code, the plugin is Prettier. Okay, let me look at installed plugin. I have my internet disconnected at the moment. So under installed, we have let me see. Is it so Prettier? This particular plugin, Prettier. So if you just search in your extension box here, extension market here, search for Prettier code formatter, install it. Look at the logo, it's this colored stuff. So once you install it, it gives you extra colors. For instance, these brackets now have different colors, so it helps to give you more color in your coding. So color coding means that your stuff will have different colors to help you to identify what each code does, and for you to know that this code and this code, they are not the same thing. All right, so let me find another example. Let me go back, find a file that is a little bit longer. Let's say we have is it config bootstrap? All right, container. Okay, let's use container here. All right, so this code now, if you see the language automatically detected as what? PHP. Now you see that there are colors. The opening the opening tag is in what? Is in blue. Then these keywords, these are system keywords. The language keywords, they are in blue also. Use. The same thing for function, they are in blue. Directory class, they are all the language keywords, so they are in blue. Look at it, blue here. Then the variables are in lighter blue. This is a variable. This is a lighter blue. Is it sky blue? Yes, like sky blue. Then look at this bracket too, yellow and then blue. So you discover that there is color coding, right? The classes are in green. You have green here. What else? The plain text are in this color, whatever this color is. They're in this color. I don't know. So you see that the color coding helps you to see different things for what they are, right? So look at this one too, purple, for the return keyword. So the same thing happens for every language. Every language has a way that the editor will format the code to give it different colors. So this is the job of the code editor. It helps you to get the color coding intact. Then we have syntax highlighting, like the one we just opened currently. The syntax highlighting helps you to highlight the syntax of that particular language. So every language has its own syntax, has the way it's being written. You understand? It has the way it's being written. So the code editor also gives you all of those. Now, if you move your mouse over each of these things, assuming I am in the correct directory where this file exists, if I hover my mouse over it, number one, this red line will not even be there in the first place, and then if I hover over it, I'll get full details of this particular function or class that I am hovering over, because the code editor handles that automatically, right? With the use of some extensions in some cases, or by default, because some extensions are installed by default in VS Code. So it helps you to highlight, and then you see the syntax of how the language is supposed to be written. Then code auto completion, right? If you're writing a code, the IDE can suggest different things to you. So for instance, this one is a reserved key, is a keyword. So if I hover over, you see that it's giving me details. Now if you start typing something, to start giving you suggestion. So for instance, I write form, you see that it's giving me options, autocomplete, whether I want to do a function or this. So if I click on this function, it automatically takes it in. So let's say I type print, so it gives me all the suggestions for print. We have print R, print F, normal prints, so these are different things you get for this particular language. So, and then see, as I clicked on print F, it's showing me that there are options that can be passed into this particular function. We have a value which can be mixed. That means it can be a plain text, it can be an array, it can be a boolean, any value at all can be passed into this. That's why this mixed keyword is here. Then we have the second value, which is return for. That is whether it has its own stuff that it does to the function. So basically what you need is just the first value. So assuming I added a value here, let's say I added something like hello world in brackets, so automatically it detects it as a complete statement. So it will be, once I run this code, this thing will be printed out to the screen. So this is basically what you have for a code editor. Then formatting, yes, code editors also help you to format your code. Let me open another file instead. Let me look for this. For instance, settings. Let me open settings. Alright, so it helps you to format your code. Now, if the code is not formatted, if you right click and then you will see format document, you see Ctrl+Shift+I, because I'm using Ubuntu. I think in Windows you have Ctrl+Shift+F or so, and then you can actually change the key mappings, but that is for a different class altogether. So but for this one, if you just right click on anywhere in the documents and then click on format document, it automatically format the document and set it in the right order. So we'll be using this code, these shortcuts and everything when we get into writing the sample code that we want to write. So I just want to explain the things that the code editor helps you to do before we jump right into writing the code. Alright, so that is what you have for editor. So the next video we'll talk about the browser tools, how you can use the browser tools, what you can use it for, before we'll now jump right into the next one. So see you in the next video. Thank you.